Hey everyone, welcome to the Nerd Social. I'm John, and this is part 2 of our live discussion that Nathan, Colin, and I did on WandaVision Episode 8. Enjoy.
At the end of the episode, it seemed like Agatha was afraid of Wanda's position as the Scarlet Witch. So she is afraid of her raw chaos power, raw chaos magic. It's uncertain to me what she wants to do about it.
It's okay. You have no idea how dangerous you are.
She says that you don't know how dangerous you are. So maybe she'll team up with Wanda. But it seems to me the way that it's going, they're going to dispatch with Agatha at the beginning of the episode and have to deal with Hayward at the end of the episode. But I mean, of course I don't know because I haven't seen the episode, but that's what it looks like to me.
So that scene right there where she said, she basically accused her of chaos magic and gave her name finally, the Scarlet Witch.
This is chaos magic, Wanda. And that makes you the Scarlet Witch.
Nice geek moment there the whole time. We had, Nathan, I think you even referenced it in one of our earlier videos that we've done where that the comic books absolutely reference the type of magic that Wanda does, which is chaos magic.
Right.
Chaos.
I was surprised they're leaning very heavily into it. So it looks like now they have fully embraced magic beyond what was shown. Because even in the Doctor Strange movie, I can't recall if they actually even referred to the word magic at all whatsoever. They try to dance around it a little bit. Right?
They dance around it a little bit. The ancient one was talking about like ancient knowledge and things like that. But yeah, and Colin, what you were saying earlier about the Infinity Stones, the colors do match it with this. So there's a purple Infinity Stone. Doctor Strange's power is orange. When he's conjuring things, it's orange. One of the stones is orange. The ether is red. So it seems like everyone is tapping into different kinds of magic that are related to the Infinity Stones. Mm-hmm. And I guess that the Power Stone is purple.
Yes, it is.
They've also in the Doctor Strange movie they showed already that the dark magic is purple and black. So they're consistent with that from the Doctor Strange movie. The Caecilius when he was pulling from the dark dimension, it was like black and purple.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So
also the other thing is that it doesn't, even though the colors might be different. So for example, with Wanda, we know that she has the chaos magic. It seems as though she can bend reality in many ways, like kind of similar to the Reality Stone, but. We saw earlier from with her time with Hydra, she had exposed herself to a lot of the powers of the Mind Stone. So it could be that the Infinity Stone, from the different source of Infinity Stone, may manifest other sorts of powers from it. So it might not be that, I think also that she had mind control from what we've seen from Age of Ultron. So there could be other types of manifestations. And then there was also a kind of like a tell to kind of say that maybe she had these powers even before she was exposed to the Mind Stone. So that was very fascinating too, in my mind.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting as well, because it doesn't seem like they're leaning into her being a mutant.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a lot of speculation that we were going to get introduced to mutants in this show. I mean, they still have to deal with Pietro and why he looks like he does. Hopefully, they do that in a satisfying way, and it's not he just happens to be the person he happened to be nearby and he looks like the guy from the X-Men thing.
That would be very disappointing if they went that route.
He could be the guy from Witness that's in Witness Protection, by the way.
Okay.
So which means that he was a regular person on that planet.
Or is he the rabbit? Rabbit. I mean, I begin to even question that too. Does he just wait a minute? So she can't transform, right? She can't do that transformation thing, magic.
She can. She transformed the bug into a bird.
A bird.
there was a whole lot of exposition sort of things, but before Wanda went down memory lane. So she can do those things. She can mind control people. She can transmute things. But she's hundreds of years old. Within the MCU, we know that she's hundreds of years old. Within the comics, she's thousands of years old. So she's been learning magic for many years, and she can only do it in a very limited way, in a very localized way. And like she said, Wanda's doing magic miles away on like autopilot. So she really wants to know. She wants that power. She wants your magic. She wants your magic. She wants to eat that magic.
Shark.
Yeah.
Yeah, fake Pietro is Pietro.
Pietro, yeah. that was funny. This episode was definitely more serious than pretty much every other episode, but Agatha provided the levity from time to time. She mentioned that Pietro was just so loud. It's like, we're right here. What? And then she the other thing about this episode. So we were talking earlier this week about the one thing about this show that hadn't been connecting with me is like the emotional part of it. Why connecting with Wanda's trauma, because she spent most of the season hiding from her trauma, right? So we saw instead of actually seeing her trauma, we saw very complicated and immaculately created set pieces of all the things that she used to hide away from her trauma, which was interesting to watch. It was good. It was nice to see those sitcoms so faithfully recreated, but it was also like those sitcoms, you don't really connect on an emotional level necessarily with the characters like you would in like a drama or something like that. So it was good to see. It was good to see her anguish and understand and connect with her anguish. There was a little bit of a beat there where I wish the director had the camera on her face, because I've seen Elizabeth Olsen act in certain things where I connect with her acting more than I did. I'm specifically thinking about the scene where she's on the bed with Vision, and I connected with him. I connected with him more than I connected with her. I think I connected with her when she got to the house and she was just like at her lowest. But I think there was an opportunity missed when they were on the bed. They did a 2-shot where he was in frame. I think if they just had it on her face, it would have been much more emotionally impactful when she was talking about feeling like she was like drowning in sorrow.
But what is grief, if not love persevering?
And you're right. The attention was a little more. Yeah, you can't help but be directed to him.
Because he's very, very colorful.
Exactly. I agree with you there. That shot should have focused on her face a little more.
Yeah,
a single shot, right?
Yeah. And but his but even though he's very colorful and it's I mean, Paul Bettany's acting is like top notch throughout this entire show. This one scene with him, and also the scene in episode, I want to say 6, episode 5, where they did the Family Ties thing at the end, where he's like, I'm scared and I don't know who I am. That his acting in this show has been excellent. They definitely should be. They both should be nominated for Emmys. If they these award shows have a bias against genre stuff, but they are really acting their behinds off in this show.
Katherine Hahn too.
Definitely.
Katherine Hahn too. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny. Just last night I was watching a clip of my wife had on in the background The Dictator with Sacha Baron Cohen, and there's a very vulgar scene. That whole movie is vulgar. There's a very vulgar scene where there's a lady in a grocery store about to give birth, and lo and behold, it's Katherine Hahn using some very colorful language and some very. It was just weird to see her there. And I was saying to Mom, "Hey, you know who that is? That's Agatha." Oh my God, it really is her. So another very funny movie. So she's always been pretty good. It's just, I guess, bit parts we've seen her in here and there.
Yeah, she's She's had a great career doing lots of different things. She's had a very varied career, Katherine Hahn.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yeah, and she, her whole song with Agatha all along has been like big hit, and I think I saw on YouTube. Yeah, on YouTube, it's been crazy that even Marvel had to like put out like a 1 minute like music video type of thing with her. So I just think that this has been very groundbreaking in a lot of ways for those three actors specifically. And going back to what you said about the emotion, Nathan, I think that it is definitely much more well earned. I would say if you've watched throughout the episodes, even as you mentioned earlier about how we are almost like Agatha in this episode. I mean, she had to like basically wipe a tear from her eye when Vision and Wanda was sitting on the bed, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is too emotional even for me." So it's like there's a sense of this kind of small humanity, I think, with Agatha that we all share as audience members, and then yeah, just like what you said about the scene in front of the house, and basically, it's true for a lot of people that when you're married and you buy a home, you want to buy real estate, you want to buy a home, and if that doesn't, I mean that hits a lot of people throughout anywhere in this world. So the fact that you can't grow old together, it's very heartbreaking, and it can get very emotional for a lot of people. And and then we find out in that moment, the whole town becomes her type of escape from reality, and she builds a new reality through that town. So it was very interesting to kind of see the real Westview in some ways, and how that was built up. So that was fascinating.
It was very dilapidated, and it's unclear if it was dilapidated because it was a New Jersey town that was in disrepair, or it was dilapidated because half of the population of the planet left, and every town kind of sort of looks like that. Because if you remember, when Ant-Man came back from the quantum realm, everything looked like that as well. Like his neighborhood everything was grown over because half of the people are gone, so there aren't as many people to do maintenance on these neighborhoods. So it was difficult to tell. Also, we saw a lot of people. We saw Herb without a terrible wig, so he looks like a normal person without a terrible wig. We saw the guy
Mrs. Hart, I think,
Mrs. Hart, who wasn't with Mr. Hart, and she also looked sad. So was Vision the only person that Wanda created? Did she create a Mr. Hart for her as well to make her happy? Because she was specifically alone and sad at that table. So it'd be interesting to see what was going on there, and I don't think that was a mistake. I think everyone in that town was a little sullen. Yeah, we saw Pete, the delivery guy. Apparently, he was a delivery guy. That's why he was always delivering things. So she upgraded his job a little bit, but it was basically the same job. So yeah, it was seeing the city in its dilapidated state was very, very interesting. It will be interesting to see once this ends how many people will hold a grudge against her, given that she did, like Pietro said, upgrade their lives a little bit. I mean, there are definitely people who are suffering. Like Abhilash is suffering because he's concerned about his father and his sister. That woman who was in that loop is definitely suffering. But I don't know. Maybe some people like this illusion.
So because of this episode, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it seems to cement the fact that it is Wanda, right? That's doing all of this. It seems to really point to that. She still doesn't know how she did it. They attempt to explain it, that it's born out of the tragedy and the trauma of what she's been dealing with. But and it sounds like from what we saw in this episode too, because Agatha's trying to figure out, and she's hungry for Wanda's power, and she doesn't even truly get and understand how powerful and why she's this powerful until, of course, in the end, she says it's all chaos magic. That's what it is. So it seems to cement the fact that it is Wanda all this time. And yeah, Nathan, I think you're right. how are people going to react to that, knowing that yes, it's all her. It's definitely all her.
Yeah, there definitely will be fallout, no matter how this ends, and I don't think this is going to end well for Wanda. Hopefully, she gets out of this with her children. I doubt she's going to get out of this with Vision.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there will be a battle with Hayward's soulless vision in her vision, and Vision being who he is. Kind of foreshadowing. We got a foreshadow of what he'll do to sacrifice earlier in this episode, or earlier in the season, right? You know he'll sacrifice. We know that he would sacrifice based on Infinity War, right? I think he's going to sacrifice himself again. See, I think that Hayward has his body, she has his soul, and this couple weeks was just a long goodbye for him, and he's definitely going to die in the next episode, because there are definitely people that aren't going to watch this show and saw him die in Infinity War, and if he just pops up in the next movie, it's going to be very confusing. So I don't think he makes it out of this.
Yeah, is he going to somehow combine with his old body in some way, and we have a final send off that way, a proper send off, or what?
Maybe we get that. I don't know. I'm fairly certain that he's going to die, and she'll have to deal with that. What I'm concerned about is what Disney. So there's what Marvel Comics can do, and then what Disney is likely to do. What Disney is going to do with those children, in a way that's not going to be traumatizing to children who's watching it, because it's like a PG-13 show. So
right.
So I have no idea how they're going to neatly wrap that up and have her continue to have trauma, or continue to exist as a hero within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because she's going to be in the next movie. She's going to be in Spider-Man a little bit as well. So if she has to take care of her kids, how is she going to do that, right?
So she gets stuck in another universe or something, or some kind of phantom zone, blasted into another universe for jail, I guess.
Maybe. So I'm not sure what's going to happen to Billy and Tommy, but I'm really interested to see where that goes there, because I think that's one of the more complicated things for them to tie up are her children. I know that they want to make them Young Avengers later on, but they're like 10 now. They're 10 now, so I guess they at the end they could just age them up again. They aged them up several times, so and that way she doesn't have to take care of them that way. And that anything else that any other? So there's, like I said, there's a laundry list of things that we don't know. We don't know why it's Hex, why Hex is a thing. Although we keep seeing hexes. So like the room that she had the runes in to like stop her powers was a hex. So maybe that's just the power. That maybe that's the shape that gets created naturally when someone is casting a spell. I don't know. Maybe we'll never get an answer to that. There's certain things that they might not answer at all. I hope we get an answer to. I mean, I don't know if it's like super important, but like who Jimmy had in Witness Protection. Dottie showed up in the last episode. We don't really understand. I feel like that person, she was in Buffy. I thought she was going to have a bigger part in this show, and maybe she will in the next episode. I don't know.
Yeah, they're going to have to tie up a lot of people's storylines, or even, transfer them to the movie storyline, because no Darcy, no Jimmy, no Monica in this one. So it was basically a Wanda and Agatha being the big characters in the story, and then Hayward. That was it. So there's a lot of story to wrap up, and even Vision was pretty big, but it was through flashbacks. So the current Vision that was with Darcy, or flew away from Darcy, here in this episode. So there's a lot of storyline left, and also we've been seeing online about whether or not there's going to be like a big reveal of a major character at the end. It may or may not happen. So we'll see. We'll see who's the major characters that's going to show up at the end of WandaVision.
So there's speculation that Paul Bettany was just messing with people, in that he was telling the truth, but also messing with people. In that, because the person that he's saying that he always wanted to work with is himself, because he's going to have to play. He's going to have to play himself against himself.
Yes.
So that people are speculating that he was messing with people, and that I always wanted to work with this person because he's never got to work with himself. So so there's speculation that there won't be another person coming in because the other person that he wanted to work with was himself. So
I'm gonna have to throw a virtual pie in his face if he does that. Oh man!
He wasn't lying. He was just messing with
troll. If he did that, he got everyone pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say so.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other, I guess, speculation you wanted to get
into?
No,
just one to throw out there. Maybe I missed it, but it looked like those scientists, when they were experimenting on Wanda, was trying to say that everyone, I think one of them said everyone who touched it didn't make it, right? And so she was able to touch that stone. It's fine.
Doctor, with respect, not one subject has survived direct contact.
Fine. So what does that make her, and what does that make Pietro? Because to me, it looked like they were trying to say they were already something special, right? Or she was something special to be able to touch that stone in the first place.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the speculation of the latent powers. Is that the first sign of them trying to say that she and Pietro were mutants of some sort, or inhumans, or whatever the heck?
Yeah, this is what we were talking about earlier with the mutant thing, when we started talking about Pietro. I don't think that they were saying that she was a mutant. I think that Agatha explained it away as you were a baby witch, and I guess in the MCU universe, similar to mutants being born, witches can be born with a certain ability, and other fantasy writing also write witches or warlocks that way as well. Like Harry Potter, that he was born with a wizard gene. So I think that's what they were trying to say there. Like she was born with this ability, and Agatha seemed to say, without it being nurtured, it would have just died, and then it was amplified by the Infinity Stone, by the Mind Stone.
So can we also assume that Pietro, her brother, also touched it in order to be safely experimented on as well?
Yeah, I would assume that he was also
latent witch.
Yeah, a latent witch or a warlock. Yeah. It's not. That's
maybe
not.
He went to what is it? Harry Potter world. Right?
Yeah. That's not really. That's a little bit of a flaw in the logic of what they were saying.
Yeah, and that's the part that's why it kind of threw me off. I was like, okay, if they're trying to say she's a witch, then Pietro was a fast witch.
Yeah, yeah. What they were saying in the thing doesn't really line up. What Agatha was saying in the episode doesn't really line up with why Pietro was supercharged. Because taken separately, Agatha saying that you were a witch and you had this latent ability and it was amplified by the Mind Stone, that is fine to say, right? But when we get to the facility and the guys say no one has survived, and then she survived, those two things don't necessarily jive because we know Pietro also survived.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's something yet to be explained there. The other thing is, it was unclear to me if she drove there with that deed in that envelope, or while she was inside, someone put it on her seat, because it seems like she noticed it when she got in her car.
True. I couldn't tell if someone. To me, it looked like someone left it for her. So
someone's trying to mess with her.
Yeah. It was Vision, White Vision. No, I don't know. So that hopefully that'll get answered in the last episode too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and also one other thing, going back to the Mind Stone, I think that that reflection of the Scarlet Witch costume when Wanda was seeing. Wondering if that was like a being that went into her, or like kind of like the Phoenix Force, or was it just like a figment of her imagination? I found that very, not confusing, but very interesting to see if that was another being or was it her manifestation.
That's a good question.
I wonder if you guys have it.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm wondering if it means that all the stones are connected. I mean, and so she always had the Mind Stone with her. Therefore, that's why she could create Vision too. I mean, Maybe that's what they're trying to say.
I have two theories about that. One is that she was seeing a future version of herself, because they've established that witches can see forward and backwards through time, and she was seeing a premonition of herself. The other theory is that when she says that you're the Scarlet Witch, we still don't know what the Scarlet Witch means in the MCU. Maybe it's like the Phoenix Force. It's something that possesses someone. So maybe that was the Scarlet Witch possessing Wanda, and that's what the form of it, the Scarlet Witch, looks like. Also, notice at the beginning that the Mother Witch had a crown similar to Wanda's, but it was blue. So I think they're establishing that when witches go like full power, a crown like that appears. So I think we're going to see a crown like that appear on Wanda when she goes full power mode in the next episode.
So we're going to see the costume, the real costume.
Yeah.
Okay. Not the Party City costume, but the real costume.
The Party City costume. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Now that's all I got.
Yeah. That's all. So yeah, that's all we saw. But we're really interested to hear what you guys think. Please comment down below, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.